Hello and welcome to Entirely English, the online English school and the YouTube channel that aims to help people understand the British, our language and our culture. Today we are going to be looking at the human body, the names of the different basic parts and idioms and phrases associated with them. I decided to do this because it links into our previous video about the Greek mythology. There's a couple which blend into both subjects. So let's start. Here is an image of the human body. You can see it is the front view, and we're going to start from, I was going to say the bottom, but that's something different. So we'll start from the base. And at our base, we have our feet. And one phrase or idiom that goes with that is to put your foot to the floor. Put your foot to the floor comes from motoring, driving, and it means to accelerate, to put the accelerator all the way down. In other words, to go as fast as possible. You might have heard in some American films, they say, put the pedal to the metal. It's the same idea. Press the accelerator pedal all the way down. But it's not just used in driving. It could be used in, for example, your factory. You might say to one of the people working on the line, come on, put your foot to the floor, and it means work as fast as possible. Now, at the front of the feet, we have the toes. I have mentioned before that this can be confusing for people, for example, in Russia, who call the toes on the feet fingers. Fingers are on the hand, on the feet they are toes. And we have the phrase to toe the line. Again, you might have heard me mention this in a previous video. One of the ideas of this, the origin of this, is in boxing. They claim that there were two lines on the ground in the original days of boxing, and the boxers would have to stand with their toes touching the line before the bout began. Another more believable idea is in the game of darts. They have what they call the oki. Basically, it's different lines on the floor for different game styles. And you cannot step over it. You can put your toe on the line and then throw your darts. So to toe the line means to follow the rules, obey all the regulations. And then at the back of the foot, we have the heel. This is that round bit at the back of your foot. This is one where we flash back to our Greek mythology video, and we talk about an Achilles heel, the weak point. So for Superman, the Achilles heel was kryptonite. It was his weakness. Comes from the Greek mythology of Achilles being dipped in the river Styx, which made him impregnable, invulnerable to weapons, except for his heel, which is where his mother was holding him when she dipped him in the river. So that part was not blessed by the magic of the river, and thus Hector was able to kill him by shooting an arrow into his heel. Coming up from the heel, we have the ankle. That's the joint that connects the foot to the leg. We have a couple of phrases. There's like to show an ankle. This goes back to the days when women wore very long dresses or long skirts. And to show an ankle was essentially to be kind of sexy. Now, in Victorian times, they say that ankles were forbidden to be seen. Even furniture would have the legs covered right down to the floor because it might overheat a male ego. To turn your ankle means, or to sprain your ankle means to hurt your ankle. When you fall or you're running and you twist it, to turn your ankle is to suddenly cause a sprain. Similar to that, we have a well-turned ankle, which is another phrase meaning attractive. She has a well-turned ankle, means she's got a good shape. Then there's ankle biter. Ankle biter means very small children, smaller than toddlers. So they're crawling on the floor and they could bite your ankles. And then the front of the leg, we have the shin. Back of the leg, we have the calf. That's the muscle at the back of the leg. At the front of the leg, the shin and the shin bone. And we use the word shin meaning to climb. So you say to somebody on a tropical island, shin up that tree and get me a coconut. It means climb, because when you climb, you cross your shins around the trunk of the tree. So to shin up something means to climb quickly. Then we have the joint connecting the lower leg to the upper leg, and that is the knee. With knee, we have a couple of phrases like knee high. So if you say he was knee high to a duck, means very small. Only as tall as from the ground to where the knee of a duck would be. We have knee-jerk reaction. If you've ever been to a doctor and had your reflexes tested, they will hit your knee with a hammer and it makes your leg jerk. And when we talk about a knee-jerk reaction, it means an automatic one we do without thinking. And then we have a knees up. A knees up is a lovely phrase, and it means to dance, to have a party. Come round to our house tonight, we're having a knees up. All right, a party. And there's an old song, Knees Up Mother Brown. Knees up Mother Brown, knees up Mother Brown. Come on, dearie, let it go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Take your look at the... There's several with knees, like if he went down on one knee, it could mean that he was proposing to a lady. Or showing respect, like when you meet the king or the queen, you might go down on one knee. Above the knee, we have the thigh. Not many idioms connected to thigh. The best phrase is a thigh slapper, which means something that is so funny, you're like, ha ha ha, and you're banging your thighs with your hands, slapping your thighs. So you say, that was a thigh slapper. But when you sit down, interesting thing in English, when you sit down, your thighs become your lap. And we do have a couple of phrases with lap. For example, there is a lap dog. Lap dog, those small annoying dogs which women have on their laps. They sit with them on their laps like a cat. There's also the phrase in the lap of the gods, which means that the situation is up to the gods to judge. So our ship is sailing towards this terrible whirlpool. What can we do? There's nothing we can do. It's in the lap of the gods. It is theirs to judge. It's like they're sitting there with your future in their hands. Above the thigh, we have the hips. The hips are the sides of that part of the body where the arrow is pointing. And you might have a phrase like joined at the hip, which means two people are essentially like Siamese twins or conjoined twins. Derek and Jim are joined at the hip. Means they go everywhere together. They do everything together. Shoot from the hip. I believe this comes from America. Shooting from the hip meant drawing and firing your gun very quickly. And we use that idiom to mean that we do something quickly, like on the spur of the moment. Impulsive, if you like. And then there's a lovely phrase which dieting people tend to use. A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. So the pleasure of eating that cake is only for a moment, but then the weight, the fat goes onto your hips. The whole limb from the foot to the hip is your leg. And we have some idioms there, like to break a leg. This, not literally, this is a phrase that theatre people use, actors and dancers, and it's to wish people good luck. Before they go on stage, you say, break a leg. And it's this idea that if you wish the worst, the best will happen. So the dancer won't fall and break their leg, they will have a perfect performance. To pull somebody's leg is to joke around with them, to tell them something that's not true, to get a reaction from them. Like, hey, Tony, they're towing your car away. What? No, I'm just pulling your leg. It's a joke, tease. Not to have a leg to stand on means something is unsupported. So you want to take your neighbor to court for creating too much noise, but you can't get any evidence, so you haven't got a leg to stand on. No evidence, nothing to support you like a leg supports you. To be on your last legs, or for something to be on its last legs, means it's coming to the end of its life cycle. So you say this table is on its last legs. It means very soon it's going to have to be thrown away and a new one bought. The television's on its last legs. It's time we bought a plasma one. Grandpa's on his last legs. Get the coffin ready. To give somebody a leg up is to help them literally. Somebody like climbing a wall or trying to get apples from a tree, you support them. They step into your hands and they can get to a higher position, a leg up. And we use the idiom to mean to help people in various situations. Like, I wasn't really qualified as a computer programmer, but Panasonic gave me a leg up and provided training. While the hips are the outer part, the waist is the circle around the body just above the hips, waistline. Like with the knee, we've got waist high. You could be referring to something literal, like the flood water was waist high. It came up to your waist. Or describing somebody as small. You know, my child is growing very fast. He's only 7, but he's already waist high to me. Waist high, waist deep as well. You can say the snow was waist deep. Again, it came up to your waist. And your doctor might tell you to strip to your waist. And it just means take off your shirt or jacket and shirt so that you are naked from your head to your waist. From the waist upwards, we have the stomach. One of the common phrases we have is butterflies in your stomach. And it defines nervousness when you're a bit worried about something. For example, you're going for an interview, job interview, you might say, I have butterflies in my stomach. There's this feeling of discomfort internally. Likewise, you might say, I've not got the stomach for something. I've not got the stomach for climbing mountains. Like it makes me feel sick or disgusted. I've not got the stomach for listening to Donald Trump. These things make me feel ill. Likewise, you can say, this turns my stomach, or this turns his stomach. John is a bit squeamish. The sight of blood turns his stomach, and again, it makes him feel sick. We can also call the stomach the belly. It's kind of a juvenile word for it, but we do have a couple of idioms that go with belly. There's when a child wants more and more food or sweets, you say, your eyes are bigger than your belly. All right. So it means you see, you want, but you don't have the capacity for it. You can't eat 3 tons of chocolate. Sorry, your belly is not that big. You could also say somebody has a fire in their belly. It means they've got a passion or drive to do something. He's got a fire in his belly for studying. He's really driven to do it. A belly laugh. This is laughter that shakes your whole body, and it seems to come from your belly, from your stomach. If something goes belly up, it means it fails completely. And it comes from naval terms. When a ship overturned, so the bottom of it was above the water, it was like its belly was showing above the sea. So if something goes belly up, business or a project, it fails. And a yellow belly, this means somebody who is a coward. I'm not sure of the origins of this. Again, there's various things in the etymology, Google searches, but there's no real definite reason why we have this. One of the ideas is that I think it was French soldiers wore yellow waistcoats in their uniform. So the British call them yellow bellies. Of course, there's bellyache, or it's the same as stomachache. But when we use the phrase bellyache, it means somebody's complaining, moaning about something. What are you bellyaching about now? Oh, it's not fair, my car won't work. Above the belly and stomach, we have the chest. This is this entire cavity. You could get something off your chest, which means to share what is worrying you. Hey, Stu, you're looking a bit pensive. Why don't you get it off your chest? Tell me what the problem is. Keeping something close to your chest means keeping it a secret. Here's a plan, boys, for robbing the bank. Keep it close to your chest. Don't tell anybody. Don't let anybody else know. And then there's an old one, I don't know if it's used so much these days. There's to put hairs on your chest. Mothers or fathers might say this to their sons, and not so much to the girls. But come on, eat your cabbage, you'll put hairs on your chest. It's like it will make a man of you, make you an adult very quickly. Inside the chest, there are the bones, and they are called the ribs. And the ribs do form a couple of idioms as well. There's stick to your ribs, which means food is very filling. If you eat this buckwheat porridge, you'll find it sticks to your ribs. It fills you very much. You wouldn't be able to eat anything else. We also use the rib as a verb. To rib somebody means to make fun of them or joke with them, to pull their leg. And rib tickling, similar to the belly laugh and the thigh slapping, this is about amusement. You say, oh, that's rib tickling. Doesn't mean it's hysterical, not like a thigh slapping joke or event, but something that amuses you, rib tickling. Now, if we come up from the chest and ribs, we get the shoulders. And there are a few shoulder ones. One is to give somebody the cold shoulder, which means to essentially ignore them or treat them indifferently. To have a chip on your shoulder means to hold a grudge. Not sure where that one comes from. It could be a Greek one, I'm not sure. Definitely from the Greek, we have to have the world on your shoulders. This comes from the god Atlas. And to have the world on your shoulders means that you're worried about something. You've got a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. Like a single parent, they've got to pay the bills, they've got to feed the children, clean the house, wash the laundry. They've got to pay the mortgage, and it's like they've got the world on their shoulders, all these problems pressing them down. So they might need a shoulder to cry on. Having a shoulder to cry on means somebody who gives you support, sympathizes with you. It's the literal visual one. You are crying on their shoulder. And they might support you in such a way that you could say they stand shoulder to shoulder. If these people stand shoulder to shoulder, they are supporting them, working closely together, without any doubt, full support. Like the European Union stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine. You have the phrase head and shoulders above. It means superior to, better than. Caroline is head and shoulders above the rest of the class. She is the best student in the class. The Old Mill Cafe is head and shoulders above Starbucks. So it outclasses them. It is much better in every way. And the final one I want to do with shoulder, there are several others, is to put your shoulder to the wheel. You might think of carts, you might think of cars. It actually goes back to the days of the mill. Like in the Roman Empire, they would have slaves pushing the wheel around to grind the corn or to pump the water. So you'd put your shoulder to the wheel. You had to put in a lot of effort. Again, in your factory, you might say to somebody who's standing around chatting, come on, put your shoulder to the wheel. It means get working. Focus on your task. All right, so we're going to have to chop the body in two there, I'm afraid. I didn't realize how many parts we'd be talking about, and the video is too long. So part 2 will be up in the next 3 days, maybe. I hope you found this interesting. Do click the like button if you've enjoyed this. Do click the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date and catch the next half of this video. Do, if you know anybody who would be interested, share this video with them, and do come back for the next half. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.